Mike Tyson was not born into comfort or stability. He was born into fear. Brooklyn in the late 1960s was unforgiving, violent, and ruthless. And Tyson was a small, quiet kid surrounded by danger at every corner. He was bullied constantly, beaten, humiliated, and reminded daily that weakness had consequences. His home offered no refuge. Poverty, crime, and instability shaped his earliest memories. By the time most children were dreaming of futures, Tyson was learning how to survive. Anger grew inside him like pressure in a sealed container. He didn't know how to express it, only how to react. That rage would later terrify the world, but first, it nearly destroyed him. The street monster. By his early teens, Tyson was already lost. He was arrested over 30 times before the age of 13. Fighting wasn't sport, it was instinct. Violence became his language. Every punch was a response to years of humiliation. Every fight was a way to feel powerful, even if only for a moment. But the streets don't reward potential, they consume it. Tyson was heading toward prison or death fast. He wasn't stupid, he was undirected, explosive, untamed. What he needed wasn't discipline alone. He needed purpose. And then, by sheer accident, fate intervened. Cus D'Amato. The architect Cus D'Amato didn't see a criminal. He saw a weapon that needed control. When Cus took Tyson in, he didn't just train his body, he rewired his mind. He taught him that fear was natural, but courage was learned. That confidence wasn't loud. It was earned through preparation. Tyson was forced into discipline for the first time in his life. Early mornings, endless drills, repetition without praise. Cus made him read philosophy, study champions, visualize dominance. Tyson wasn't allowed to think like a street fighter anymore. He was trained to think like a destroyer with purpose. The making of a killer style. Tyson's boxing style was violent poetry, peekaboo defense, explosive head movement, short, devastating combinations thrown with terrifying speed. He wasn't just strong, he was fast, precise, and relentless. His power came from technique, not size. Every punch was rehearsed thousands of times. Every movement had intent. He closed distance like a predator. Opponents felt panic before the first bell ended. Tyson didn't box to win rounds. He boxed to end belief. Fighters entered the ring already defeated, broken by reputation alone. The youngest heavyweight champion. At just 20 years old, Mike Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in history. It wasn't celebrated, it was feared. He unified the division with ruthless efficiency. One fight after another ended early. First round, second round, brutal knockouts. Commentators ran out of words. Fighters ran out of courage. Tyson didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. He stared. Cold, focused, empty. He wasn't chasing fame, he was fulfilling programming installed by Cus. I am the best ever, he said, and at that moment it wasn't arrogance, it was fact. Fame, the new enemy. When Cus D'Amato died, something critical disappeared. The anchor, the voice of discipline, the system that kept the monster contained. Fame rushed in to fill the void. Money, yes men, distractions, addiction. Tyson was still winning, but he was no longer protected from himself. Training slipped, focus fractured, discipline eroded. The same rage that once fueled greatness began turning inward. Without structure, Tyson didn't evolve. He unraveled. The world still feared him, but behind the scenes, cracks were forming. The fall, the loss to Buster Douglas, wasn't just an upset, it was exposure. Tyson entered the fight unprepared, unfocused, and surrounded by chaos. When he was knocked out, it shocked the world, but the real collapse came after. Legal troubles, prison, public humiliation, the myth shattered. The invincible man was human, and humanity hit him harder than any punch ever had. He had lost not just belts, but identity. Prison and silence. Prison stripped everything away. No spotlight, no roar, no fear in others' eyes, just silence. For the first time, Tyson had to sit with himself, with regret, with missed potential, with the realization that rage without discipline is self-destruction. He trained in confinement, not just physically, but mentally, reading, reflecting, breaking down who he had become. Prison didn't fix him, but it forced awareness. Comeback and conflict, Tyson returned to boxing a changed man, but not a healed one. The power remained, the fear lingered, but the control was was inconsistent. Moments of brilliance clashed with moments of chaos. The infamous ear bite wasn't just madness. It was a breakdown. A man overwhelmed by pressure, ego, and unresolved trauma. The world judged him, mocked him, feared him again, but differently now. The aftermath. When boxing ended, the silence returned. Bankruptcy, addiction, loss. Reinvention was not glamorous. It was slow, painful, honest. Tyson began speaking openly about his demons, about ego, about fear, about how fame magnified his flaws instead of fixing them. He wasn't hiding anymore. He was learning, for the first time, not to dominate, but to understand. Legacy beyond fear. Mike Tyson's legacy is not just knockouts, it's warning. Talent without discipline is dangerous. Power without structure destroys itself. Tyson reached the highest peak boxing has ever seen, and fell harder than most. But survival itself became part of the story. Redemption doesn't always look like victory. Sometimes it looks like honesty. Mike Tyson was never just a boxer. He was raw human intensity unleashed without limits. A reminder of what happens when greatness meets trauma and discipline meets absence. He terrified the world because he was never afraid of it. And in the end, his greatest fight wasn't in the ring. It was learning how to live without destroying himself.